welcome to the Beauty Dish. Today I'm going to review 3 fragrances by Nest. So the brand debuted in 2012 and they launched with 3 fragrances, and those are the ones I'm going to talk about today. Passiflora, Amazon Lily, and Midnight Fleur. I'm going to get right into the reviews, and then at the end of the video I'll give you a little bit of background on the brand because it does have kind of a cool backstory and I think it's an interesting brand. First off, all of these samples were obtained by me, and this review is not sponsored or affiliated or connected with the brand in any way. It is just me gathering my samples and giving you my opinion. Let's just get into the scents. I'm going to start with Amazon Lily. I would say this is the lightest of the 3 debut fragrances between Midnight Fleur and Passiflora and Amazon Lily. This is the lightest. It's very fresh. It opens with a slightly bitter citrus. The notes they name are lime and tangerine, and I definitely get lime. There's a nice bitterness which I think keeps it really zippy and, like I said, fresh. Those top notes, stay with you for a little while, a good 20 minutes, and then the lily really starts to move in. And as soon as that happens, you really get the sense that this is a very watery fragrance. And by watery, I don't mean thin or watered down. I mean it is just imbued with the sense of water and dewiness. So I kind of imagine this like fresh water stream trickling through this very humid, very lush Amazonian rainforest, and it comes past, this area, this clearing just full of flowers, and there's the Amazon lilies, and I don't know if Amazon lilies can grow in a rainforest, but this is my imagination. So there they are, and the water's passing over them and around their stems, and there is a little green. There's definitely green. It's not just a big lush white floral. There's the stems as well as the flowers in these lilies, and you also get the dew that's been sitting on these petals all morning, since the last rain. So that's the sense I get with Amazon Lily, and while at the same time it's fresh and casual and a lighter of the fragrances by Nest, it's still a very strong presence. Once the flowers kind of calm down and you get to the dry down, it's still very light and fresh. They say that there is wood and musk in there, and it's just very light and clean, that kind of just behind all the watery, flowery scents that you'll experience with Amazon Lily. Okay, so Amazon Lily, which if you couldn't tell, I do really like it. I really enjoy it. At first, that bitter zip of citrus kind of threw me off a little, but I've come to really enjoy it, and that watery quality is something I really like. So Amazon Lily was created by the perfumer Christophe Laudamille, and he also created Passiflora, which I'll get to in a second. But if you're interested in who's making the scents, he also created Island, Michael Kors, Youth Dew Amber Nude by Estee Lauder, not of course the original Youth Dew, but the flanker, the Amber Nude, and Clinique Happy Heart. So let's move on to Passiflora. I have talked about Passiflora before in my top 5 fragrances for summer. I love this one. That's no secret. So Passiflora is all about passion flower, and I think this one works for day or night. It feels like a warm weather summery fragrance because even though it's strong and it stays with you and it projects above the skin, it definitely has some projection to it. I think it's fresh enough to work in hot weather, and I think it smells great in hot weather. So it opens with a very green sensation, so like the stems and the vines, and then the floral kind of comes in and takes over, and you have just this slightly sweet but not so much completely so kind of sense of passion flower. It's like a combination of passion fruit and some floral. It's not just flowers, and it's not just the edible passion fruit. It's kind of a mixture of the two, and it's juicy, but never so sweet that it's thick and suffocating, which is why I think it works so well in hot weather. So if you want to see what else I had to say about Passiflora, I think I really just summed it up. I will link to my top 5 fragrances for summer video. Okay, the third Nest fragrance from the original debut line is Midnight Fleur. And I'll just come out and be honest and say, this is my least favorite of all the Nest fragrances I've tried. But that's not to say I don't like it. I do. And I think it has a lot going for it. And I get the sense that this is, if not their most popular, one of their most popular best-selling fragrances. So this is kind of billed as like the sexy, full-on, you know, nighttime, date night kind of a fragrance. There's a video on the Sephora website with the Nest founder, and she talks about the 3 fragrances, and this is, you know, her big night kind of fragrance. And I can see that, but what turned me off from the moment I tried Midnight Fleur, and what still kind of does, is that it opens very, very sweet. Okay, one of the main notes is black amber, and amber, I don't know the difference between black and regular amber, but amber is sweet, and I generally like amber. I like it a lot, but in Midnight Fleur, it's incredibly sweet. That opening burst, like this is how all the Nest fragrances seem to run for me. I get these great top notes, or you know, you get a really strong impression from the top notes, and then something else happens, and it kind of stays that way as the fragrance develops. So that opening impression of Midnight Fleur is just sweetness, sweetness, sweetness. and then I did try it today, so I'm wearing it, and I'm kind of midway through its development here. But once that initial cloying, to me cloying, and if you like sweet fragrances, you will like this. And somehow, despite being a floral, it's kind of gourmand, kind of edible to me, because there is vanilla in there. That vanilla comes in more and more as it goes, and it backs up that amber, so it's like sweetness of amber, sweetness of vanilla. And it's just a little too much sweetness for me, and that's not what I think of as a sexy scent, but I think it's going to work for a lot of people. So you've got the vanilla, and in the middle of all that, you definitely have flowers. You have jasmine, and it's an indolic jasmine. It's meaning it's very rich and almost, you know, in such full bloom to the point of being ready to just fall off the vine with exhaustion and rot, because because it's just so full and engorged with its scent. Okay, so that's Midnight Fleur. They say there's also orchid in there. They say there's also patchouli, and I'm just going to look. There's one other note I wanted to mention. I believe in Midnight Fleur, exotic woods and patchouli. I don't smell wood, and I don't smell patchouli. In all the Nest fragrances, those more dark notes like patchouli are so subtle, and they're very clean. So if that's something you shy away from, you should have no worries with Nest fragrances. So Midnight Fleur is definitely rich and lush. It's not overpowering, but if you don't like sweetness, I don't think you would like Midnight Fleur too much. Midnight Fleur was created by the perfumer Jerome Epinette, and you might know his work from Atelier Colognes. He created four fragrances for that line, and he also created 2 perfumes for the really highly regarded niche line Byredo. So that is the guy behind that fragrance. Alright, now I'm going to give you just a little bit of background on Nest. So like I said, they launched with these 3 fragrances I just talked about in 2012. In 2013, Sephora started selling them, and their next 4 fragrances, 2 of which just launched, I believe are all Sephora exclusives still to this day. So Nest was started by a woman named Laura Slatkin. She's the founder and CEO, and she had a successful home fragrance line that she sold to a bigger company. And then she went on and made home fragrances for other companies, and then decided to launch her own brand again, which was Nest. If you've never seen a Nest fragrance bottle, it is really, really beautiful. I don't have one to show you. Like I said, I haven't gone and gotten a full Passiflora yet, but I have the 2 little sample cards. This is the Passiflora, and this is the Midnight Fleur. So this is the artwork that's on the bottles, and it is like a black bottle with this botanical artwork. And so where all this came from, and what they say is the inspiration behind the fine fragrance line, is the artwork of an 18th century British artist named Mary Delaney. And she's credited for coming up with this mosaic decoupage technique, which involved cutting up, you know, a bunch of little different colored pieces of paper in these fine, you know, intricate shapes, and putting them all together to create a picture. And she did pictures of flowers. She did botanically accurate pictures of hundreds or over 100 different flowers, and she became quite famous for that. So Laura Slatkin found her work, and she was really inspired by it, and she hired a contemporary artist called Alexander Solidoku to kind of adapt Mary Delaney's original works kind of as pictures that she could use for her fragrance line. So with these images that she had, these adaptations from the originals by Mary Delaney, she went to well-known perfumers, the guys that I just spoke about, and had them create these fragrances. I really like how she found inspiration through art. So one of the greatest things that I find from Nest is that they have really great staying power. And even though they're these, very fresh, very floral, very modern, very feminine scents, although some of them I think are, well, any scent is unisex. Any scent can be worn by anyone, but florals often have a feminine lean. So what I do like is that they stick with you. They have really lovely projection, but they don't have the kind of sillage that is going to just, take over a room, I don't think, although if you sprayed enough, they probably would. But they have nice projection, they're going to stay with you for hours, they're going to stay true, and you get to enjoy that fabulous scent for hours and hours, and that's something I really appreciate in a fragrance line. I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed learning more about this brand. It's a brand that I've really been enjoying sampling a lot. To be honest, I'd like to own more than one of their fragrances, but you know me, I'm a very careful collector. So I would like you to tell me, would you like to see more reviews of Nest fragrances? Like I said, there's 4 more in the line, and I did test out one of the very newest ones, Indigo, which let me just say is like quite the scent. It's a real zinger. Lots to talk about with that one, but I would love to review the others. Let me know if you'd be interested in that, or which ones you'd want to see first. I might try to do like 2 and then 2 more. We'll see how it works out. We'll see if you're interested. So let me know if you've tried anything by Nest and what your thoughts are. And let me know also what you're wearing today. I would love to know what you're wearing today, what you're wearing right now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Have a wonderful, fragrant day.